Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. That's loud. Ah! Stop! Stop! My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. We are going to be smacking down some 0802s versus 0702s today. That's the main thing that I want to do. I've got this build here. This is a pretty standard ultimate freestyle tiny whoop here with different motors. Technically it's in a different frame. This is the new old stock, thanks for subbing, Val. This is the new old stock Betafpv frame that Tiny Whoop has a couple of. The frame is fine. I think we're gonna leave the frame on this. I'm tempted to move this over to a regular old Meteor 65 frame, so that once these WeBleedFPV 32,500 kV motors are on, I can head-to-head the motors versus the Tiny Whoop 0702 32,000 kV motors. But realistically, 32,500 kV versus 32,000 kV, I'm not going to be able to tell a difference. So yeah, it doesn't really make much sense to have that as like a comparison point. I think a more interesting comparison point is, and what I've been screwing around with this build with is different sized motors, and this is basically a 65mm build with the biggest of the motors, sort of, that you would want to put on it. These are the Tiny Whoop EX 0802s. These are the lightweight but slightly more fragile 802 motors, 30,000 kV, and I have moved this thing from bi-blades to tri-blades to now quad blades to really give these motors a chance. You know, I've found that 802s are a much better fit for 75mm motor-to-motor rigs, 1.6-inch propellers. They work really well on the bi-blades, on the Gemfan bi-blades. On these 65mm whoops, you know, there was a time where all we had was 802s, and it was amazing. It was so much better than the brushed motors. But over the last 6 months to a year, that has really changed, and we've now got 702s, we've got 603s, and it's becoming more and more obvious that the 802s are just too big for these 65mm rigs, and I hope to kind of show you that today. I got a bunch of batteries. Let me actually throw a few more batteries on the charger, because now that I talk through all this, it would be nice to have like one stream. You know, we've done this testing over months and months and months, so it's here, it's on the channel, but it's going to be a little difficult. It's probably not that difficult to find. If you just go to my channel here and you search for 802, you're going to probably find the majority of that testing that we've done. But I think what I'll do here today is I've got it on quad blades. I went from 2 to 3 to 4 blades on this to try to get some power out of it. We're going to go back down. We'll fly half a battery with it on these quads, and then we'll drop it onto the 3 blades. I'll throw another battery on it. We'll move it from high pitch to low pitch 3 blades, and then we'll move it back down to bi blades. And then I'm going to pull the motors off. Actually, I'm just going to put the motors onto a different frame, and we're going to fly it on the 702 32,500s. And I think that you'll be able to see the difference. When we go to the 702s, it's going to get roughly 2 grams lighter, not quite, but and that's going to be really significant. That's a big part of why the 702s and the 603s perform better on these little guys, because they're just lighter, and having less weight all the way out on the ends of the arms, not that there really are arms on a Tiny Whoop, but you know what I mean, makes a huge difference in flight performance, PID performance, and power to weight ratio. So yeah, that's sort of the plan here for today. This is a Q&A live stream, so load the chat up with any questions that you've got, and happy Sunday, my friends. Hope you had an excellent weekend. In the chat, Blizzard FPV was first, Apache Smoke Wind Sniper was second, Mr. Huggy, Hockey Rounds, Bob Bruce, Michael K, Northern Tier again, Frank Nicholas, Tree Prelog, Pauly Shortcuts, Expander, Freelojo, WeBleedFPV is in the house. What's up, Zotek? Scott FPV, Mr. Dr. Death, Gage Stays Fly FPV, EBR FPV, Sleepy CBR is here. What's up, homie? Off Axis, Hush LOS, Super Deluxe is in the house. What's up, brother? CMYK FPV, FP Avery, Mr. Dr. Death again, Morton Upshot, License to Drive. Good lord, moderator chaos in the chat. What's up, everybody? Brandon's Baked Beans, Flush FPV, Douglas Otwell, Off Axis FPV again. Looking through the repeats. JP Spin. Anonymous. I think I got everybody. If I missed you, sorry. I try not to say the same name 18 times in a row. I'm still having issues with my right ear. Check with a stick is here as well. I pushed a Q-tip a little too far into my right ear hole. You're not supposed to push the Q-tips in there at all, really. You're supposed to just put them in there a little bit and wiggle them around. When you start pushing them in there, you're just going to push a big thing of awful into your brain. That's how it works. Do you guys know that? Your ears are just a direct passageway to your brain. No eardrum, no nothing. Just ear, then brain. Check it. Look it up on the internet. You'll see. Don't. Google will judge you if you look up something so silly. All right. I'm just getting my little bags of tiny whoop props here. You know, it strikes me that I don't think I have any more bi-blades. I might have a set of mismatched bi-blades. So I've got a high right, I've got a high left, a high right. Come on, baby. Give me a high left Gemfan bi-blade. That one's kind of beat up. This one's looking pretty good. This is a mismatched set, but it'll get the job done. All right, so we're good. We're good. I have an extra set of props I can put on here. Technically, I also have a bunch of these quad blades that I've cut 2 blades off of, but they're never balanced when you do that. They're never all that well balanced, and that makes the PID loop then go ballistic, and the quad just doesn't fly right when it's not on balanced props. So don't do it. Unless you want to, then do it. Do whatever you want. Don't let me tell you how to live your life. High right, high left, high right. Okay. All right, so we're good. We're good on the bi-blades. This is going to take some time. We're going to be flying and changing props and bouncing around. So let's dive into it. Let's get caught up on the chat real quick, and then I'm going to just jump right into the testing. And yeah. Hey, I'm also going to test out the Tiny Whoop streamer. I'm really excited about this. If you don't know what this is, you'll see what it is soon enough. But if you can't tell what this is by me calling it a Tiny Whoop streamer, I don't really know how to help you. Because that's a pretty descriptive... it's pretty descriptive as to what it is. It's exactly what it is. So after we run these 4 blades are they're milky white because they're prototypes from Gemfan, but they didn't change the propeller design. This is the Gemfan, is it 12? I think it's 1209. Yeah, 1209 quad blades. Very low pitch, nice lightweight quad blade propeller. There's really no reason to test it on the more pitchy, heavier weight quad blade propellers. I've done that before. They are too pitchy. They are too draggy. It's just too much. These are the best of the quad blades here. So we'll run it on these first because that's what it's on. And then I do want to try both high and low pitch tri-blades. These are the Gemfan 1208 tri-blades. These are low pitch, nice and lightweight. We've got high right, high left, and come on, give me one more. Come on now, give me one more. There we go, high left. All right, so I got a set of those. I also want to try it on higher pitched, heavier tri-blades, and so we might as well use the Gemfans. I've got a custom dyed Granny Apple green one right here. So we're going to do, yeah, let's do that. So we got, oh boy, that's a lot of tri-blades. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Custom dyed from tinywhoop.com. The man himself, Jesse Perkins. Yeah, OG high pitch Gemfan tri-blades. We could also technically run the other tri-blades that I really like that are higher pitch are the T-motors. Let's actually run it on the T-motors instead. Because I've had better luck with the T-motors being nice and lightweight. So let's actually do that. Let's take advantage of that. The Gemfan tri-blades are kind of heavy, if I'm honest. These are all... Why are these all high left? Where am I counterclockwise? Here we go. High right, high left, and I need a high right T-motor tri-blade. Don't tell me I don't have one. Don't you even... Got it. We're good. High left, high right, high left, high right. Cool. So yeah, we'll try it on the T-motor tri-blades to give higher pitch tri-blades all the chance in the world on a big can motor, which is the 802. 802 is considered, for a 65 millimeter tiny whoop, 802 is really the biggest that you would ever want to go. Reasoning, the why you would do it, like if somebody hired me on Fiverr to do a build planning session with them and they said, hey, you know, I absolutely want to go with a 1.2 inch quad blade propeller or tri-blade propeller, no questions asked. Best reasoning behind doing that would be noise. They are the more blades, the quieter the propeller, and grip. If you just absolutely want grip, so that when you go into a corner, it just stops and tracks as like on rails as it possibly can. That would be the reason to do it. Those would really kind of be the only reasons to do it, and I still think you're going to be better off with a tri-blade. But so like, yeah, the quad blades really aren't that much quieter than the tri-blades, and I don't really know if they're any more grippy than them. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you're able to tell those things better than I can, but I don't know. I doubt it. I bet you it's more placebo than anything else. So yeah, and I've done like some thrust testing of the bi versus tri versus quad blades, and the quad blades, they struggle. There's been like one or two situations where they do make a little bit more power, not much more, which has seemed very strange to me. The fact that they make more power is offset by the fact that they're also significantly heavier. So the few grams of extra power that they make kind of tends to get gobbled up in response time because they're heavier and the PID loop is trying to speed them up and slow them down. So yeah, I really don't recommend the quad blades, other than, you know, those two specific scenarios. And even in those scenarios, I think you're still better off with tri-blades. But if you like the way they look, maybe that's a reason to go with them. And, you know, you do you, brother. If you like the way they look and that's what you're going with, I ain't going to judge you. There's plenty of shit in the world that I put form over function. That's all good. Nothing wrong with that. Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper tagged me and said, good evening, CiottiFPV. How are you doing, bro? Hello, Gangly Gang. How's everybody doing this Sunday? If you want to talk directly to me like Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper just did, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV in your chat comment. When you do that, it'll light up an orange like this, and I'll know that you're talking to me. If you like these live streams and you'd like to see them continue, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. I'm completely crowdfunded by you beautiful people, and these are all the different ways that you can support me. They're sort of in order of how much they help me. This is the actual YouTube link. What helps me the most is you guys hanging out and yeah, enjoying the content that I put out there into the universe. Next most helpful thing is to join my Patreon. You can join for as little as 7.5 cents per hour of live streaming content that I do per month, which ends up being $3 a month, 10 cents a day. And it makes a huge difference. Who's going to join tonight? We've had one new Patreon member every single live stream for the last like week or so. Who's it going to be today? Who is going to be the newest person to get all kinds of really cool benefits? You're going to get access to a YouTube playlist with almost 90 unreleased Patreon-only live streams, sketchy flying stuff, half-done edits, all kinds of wacky shit in there. You're going to get access to the full Discord channel with all the beautiful people that hang out over here in the chat. There's a couple of Facebook groups that you're going to get invited to. All kinds of really good stuff. You're going to love it. It's well worth 7.5 cents an hour, I promise. And it allows me to keep doing this full time. So, you know, that's the biggest kind of help there. Etsy, you can buy some really fun stickers and some random hardware that might help you out during your next build. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. Take advantage of somebody that's got almost 8 years of experience in FPV, who's been spending a shitload of time and effort tuning, building, flying, just to kind of take you to that next level. In terms of flight instruction, I was a driving instructor at the racetrack for many, many years in my late 20s into my 30s. So I have kind of taken that experience and ability to talk people through really challenging things that are super adrenaline dumpy, and help them get better at it and enjoy it even more. And then Teespring, I've got some really fun shirts and other random items. If you want to support me with a super chat, but you don't want YouTube to take 30%, you can click this button here, send it via PayPal, and then in the chat, just type Yo CiottiFPV, check your PayPal. And then I've got a whole bunch of affiliate links. If you're ever doing an order on the internet, try to use someone's affiliate link. It'll let them keep doing what they're doing and make free content for you. I have affiliate links to WeBleedFPV, Newbie Drone, FPV Cycle, Amazon, Get FPV, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HDZero, Flywoo, Emacs, Banggood, Camera Butter, and AliExpress. You can even replace your bookmarks with these affiliate links, or replace your URL bar suggestions. When I type AMA for Amazon, it takes me to my Amazon affiliate link, which is the nut grabber. What do you know about that? So yeah, if you just type the first couple of letters of a website into the URL bar, it's going to give you suggestions, and it's usually going to give you some way of removing those suggestions. So if you remove all of your non-affiliate link suggestions, and then you come and hit like someone's affiliate link a couple times in a row, your browser will think that you want to go to my affiliate link every time you type AMA for Amazon. So it's a way that you can support people without even realizing that you're doing it. It makes a huge difference. It's free money, the affiliate link thing, and yeah, it lets us do what we're doing. So help us out and try to use affiliate links when you do orders on the internet. Bob Bruce says, what's up, my friends, and CiottiFPV. Freelojo says, here, CiottiFPV. WeBleed says, you rang. Also, hello, all gangly gangers. That Mr. Dr. Death says, hello. CMYK says, Sunday Fun Day. What's up, gangly gang? FP Avery says, what's up? And Mr. Dr. Death says, hello, how are you doing? I'm getting a Life 360 notification in the middle of the day. Whose phone is about to go dead? Okay, my phone just bombed. That was interesting. Ram Doggo says, hi, what's it weigh? What's what weigh, Ram? Freelojo says, I posted some pics in Livestream Live. What are they of? Oh, Freelojo doing a build. He says, judge my joints. That looks pretty damn good. It's hard to tell because you took this picture with a turnip. But it looks pretty good. Looks relatively shiny. I can't tell. It looks like you might have used the little half-cut pockets and these wires are going downwards. If so, bravo. If so, though, it looks like there's a little bit... Jesus Christ on a cracker. Really? It looks like there's a little bit of gold hanging out here, though. When I solder the wires onto the... What are these called? Crenellations, I think? Little pockets, little half-cut pockets. When I do this, I will try to get get the solder to completely cover the outside part here. This way, you don't have like a tight angle here between the wire and the pad. You want everything to be as smooth as possible with solder. You want like the solder joints to you want them to be convex like this. You don't ever want them to be, you don't want too much solder so that it's a ball, because when it's a ball, you get the tight joint down here on the bottom, right? What you want is for the solder joint to be convex, so it's super smooth. And when you've got a little bit of the gold still showing, no matter what, you're gonna have like a sharp edge right around the corner there. So that's the only thing from this image taken by a turnip that I can really tell. He's got the right motors on here, Xnova 1804s. That's super exciting. Yeah, it looks good, brother. Oh, look at him. 3100 kV. What's that about? Get the 35s. What are you doing? What frame is this? This is an Acrobrat frame. Jesus. Look at this guy. Old school AF. Very cool. Look at this handsome devil. What is this shark fin on top? What in the world? Look at all this stuff. This is a crazy build. What in the world? Look at this shark fin to protect the battery, I guess. And the Runcam hybrid in there? Oh, shit. ELRS hanging real far off the front. Okay. Okay. If you have the black grommets, use those. Towards the end of the Acrobrat's like life cycle, Tommy and I figured out that the hardest of the grommets were working best, which was kind of annoying because what that meant is that the clean dirty setup and the soft mounting really wasn't helping. And to remove as much of it as possible with the hardest rubber helped out the most. So that was admittedly a little bit frustrating, but you know, kind of is what it is. Very cool, man. Very, very cool. These are certainly the right motors for this frame and this build. Out of all the motors I ran on the Acrobrats, and Jesus hellballs, I ran a lot of different motors on my Acrobrat builds. The Xnova 1804s were hands down the best that there was. So yeah. I wish the Acrobrat had come out in days of 3.5-inch props. It would have been a much better 3.5-inch frame, because there was just so much extra weight from the way that the frame was set up. But yeah, it looks pretty clean, brother. Okay. CMYKFPV says, I'm still not solid on motor KV to battery voltage when selecting new motors. Do you have a simplified explanation that might stick? Yes, sort of. I'm sure you already know this, but for the less experienced folks, the KV of the motor, this isn't... The voltage basically multiplies the KV of a motor. So for example, the KV is a measurement of RPM versus voltage, in a way. So, for example, we've got all these 1S tiny whoops on like 30,000, 32,000 KV motors. The reason why the KV is so high is because the voltage is so low. 1S voltage, 4.2 to 4.35 when it's fully charged. If you were to run 2S on these motors, they would catch fire immediately. You would be doubling the... So on 1S, you can think of 32,000 kV as a multiplier of 1. So you get true 32,000 kV. We're not going to convert it into RPM. We're just going to talk about the kV number. But, actually, yeah, let's talk about RPM. If, and it's not, but if the conversion between kV and RPM was just 1x, 32,000 kV on 1S would give you 32,000 RPM. It's not actually how it works, but for the sake of argument in this discussion, it totally works. 1S, 1x multiplier, 32,000 kV, 32,000 RPM. Cool? If we were to go up to 2S, it would be a 2x multiplier, and 32,000 kV would basically become 64,000 kV, 64,000 RPM, and these motors would explode. Because the motors are just not big enough to deal with that amount of heat, And they also just kind of can't deal with that amount of RPM. There is a certain amount of RPM that the motors just won't handle. And then also you want to factor in the propellers, right? The propellers are adding drag. If you were to go up to 3S, it's now a 3 times multiplier. So here's something that people commonly forget. From 1S to 2S, it doubles. From 2S to 3S, it only goes up by 50%, right? From 2S to 4S, it would double. But from 2S to 3S, it only goes up to 50%. From 3S to 4S, it only goes up... I don't know how to do the math. What's the math on that? I don't know. 30-ish%, right? From 4S to 5S, it only goes up 20-something%. From 5S to... Right? So every time you jump up one additional cell, it's not as drastic of a jump the higher you go. So always keep that in mind. What messes a lot of people up is... I want to build a 3-inch rig on 3S. What KV do I need? And that is what I think is at the heart of CMYK's question. And there's no solid answer that I can give you because there's a range. There's quite a range of RPM that will work on a given build. Anywhere from ultra lightweight long range builds to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which are like hardcore freestyle builds or like high speed builds. So there is quite a bit of variance, but let's do this real quick. Let's whip it out. The calculator, you sick bastards. And let's take a quick look at something here. So can I not make this calculator bigger? I cannot. So let's just take 30,000 kV. All right, 30,000 kV. If we wanted to get the equivalent of 30,000 kV on 2S, all we got to do is divide by 2. And now we know that we want 15,000 kV. So if I want the same RPM, if I wanted to build a 2S 65 millimeter whoop that had the same amount of RPM as this current one on 802 30,000s, I would need a 15,000 kV motor. Technically speaking, I could just go into Betaflight and motor limit down to 50%, but you would not want to do that. You really don't want to motor limit down lower than about 70%. There's a stair stepping that happens on the throttle, and as you motor limit, that stair stepping gets worse. Nobody can really seem to tell that stair stepping is happening until you go significantly below 70% motor output limiting. So 70 is just a nice round number. Now, so that's going from 1S to 2S. If you wanted to go up to 4S, you would cut it in half again. So you would divide by 2 one more time. And now, so if you wanted to build a 4S tiny whoop that had the same KV, same RPM as this 30,000 kV 1S, it would be 4S on 7,500 kV motors. The reason I'm doing it this way is that it's going to give you like a high number. 4S on 7,500 kV is a lot. Typically where I shoot for 4S on like 3-inch or 3.5-inch propellers is anywhere from 3,000 to 4,500 kV. Again, that's a very big range. It's a big range because 3,000 kV will cover you on like a Cinewhoop with like a 5-bladed propeller. 4,500 kV will cover you on a fire-breathing freestyle rig on low-pitch tri-blade propellers. So yeah, it's a real range. But what I'm trying to drive home here is that every single quad that you've ever flown or that you own right now, it has a ratio of propeller size to KV that you can tap into. And like one of the easiest things to do is just to bring it all down to 1S. So if you've got, so take all of your rigs, look at the KV of the motors. So let's say you've got a 4S, you've got a 5-inch rig that's 4S on 2400 kV motors. You're gonna take 2400 and you're gonna divide it by 4, and that's not the right thing to do. You're gonna take 2400, you're gonna multiply it by 4, and you're gonna get 90. Still seems kind of low. Now that makes sense because it's a 5-inch prop. You're gonna get 9600 kV. Is it really that low? 9600 kV. Yeah, that's right. Huh. That, again though, that is on a big ass 5-inch propeller. So that so to reverse engineer that, right? If you were to build a 1S 5-inch rig, you would want 9600 kV motors to give you the exact same RPM as a 2400 kV motor on 4S. So where this is nice is you now have a multiplier. So if you decide that you want to build a 3S 5-inch rig, you can take 9600 and divide it by 3, and you've got, hold on, I'm doing this wrong. Hold on. 3200 kV, 3200 kV times 3. No, we're good. Yep, you have your multiplier. You have your 1S multiplier here. So then if we let's divide that by 6 for 6S, and there you go, 1600 kV. I ran 1600 kV motors for the longest time on 6S because it was the perfect 1-to-1 representation of what a 4S 2400 kV rig would run like. So yeah, now you've got your multiplier. You're gonna need a different multiplier for each different size of propeller though, right? As we were just talking about, what we like with Tiny Whoops is 32,000 kV, 30,000 kV. That is much higher than this multiplier than we just had of 9600 or whatever the hell it was, because 9600 is on a big ass 5-inch prop. The Tiny Whoop propellers are much smaller, so you have to spin them a lot faster in order to get the power out of them that we're looking for. And you also lose efficiency when you go to a smaller propeller. So you have to turn more RPM to offset the efficiency loss. The efficiency loss is because the distance between the propeller blades. The closer the propeller blades are to one another, as the next one comes around, the less efficient. The more gap that you put in between the propeller blades, as they rotate around, the edge of each blade has a bunch of turbulence. The more distance that there is, the more time that there is for that turbulence to disperse, so that hopefully the next propeller comes into nice clean air. So what you can do is take every single rig that you own. Let me hit you with it again. Take every single, I'm gonna do a couple. So I've got all right, so for 3-inch propellers, I've got 2 rip squeaks back here. And we're gonna use the smaller one. It is on 4500 kV motors, and it's 4S. So we're gonna go 4500 kV times 4S equals 18,000. So if I was to build that thing on 1S, I would need 18,000 kV motors. So 18,000 is our multiplier. So if you want the same performance that rig has, but you want to change the voltage, right now it's on 4S, let's say you wanted to build it on 3S or 5S or 6S, you've now got your multiplier. Your multiplier is 18,000. and you're just going to multiply that, but by whatever cell size you want. If you wanted to build it on, I'm sorry, you're going to divide it. Sorry, you're going to divide it. So if you wanted to change that rig from 4S to 3S, you would take your multiplier of 18,000. Multiplier is probably not the right word for it, but and you're going to divide it by 3. And you would need 6,000 kV motors to get the same power out of 3S. Multiply it by 3 to get back to our multiplier. If you wanted to build that thing from 4S to 6S, you take your multiplier and you divide it by 6 for 6S, and you get 3,000 kV. So 4,500, it's easy. 4S to 6S is easy. It's just 50, it's a 50% difference, right? 4,500 kV to 3,000 kV. 4,500 kV on 4S is the same total RPM as 3,000 kV on 6S, right? Make sense? So each one of your rigs is going to have that formula baked in a way. We'll do another one. My Cinewhoops, which spin a 5-blade, big fat blades, they are only 3,000 to 3,200 kV. So let's just go with 3,000. So they are 4S, 3,000 kV. So 3,000 kV times 4, our multiplier is 12,000 kV. If we wanted to build the Cinewhoop on 1S to get the same RPM, we would need 12,000 kV motors. So if we want to go from 4S to 6S on our Cinewhoop, we're going to take our multiplier of 12,000 and we're going to divide it by 6, and we would need 2,000 kV motors instead of the current motors that are on it, which are 3,000 kV. As I said a minute ago, it was easy. 3,000 kV, 50%, 4 to 6. It's a 50% change. So 3,000 kV down to 2,000 kV. Cool. It's 50% more voltage. So you take the number, you take 50% of it, and then you subtract that 50%. But don't do it like that. That's silly. Just do it like the multiplier. Do this with all of your rigs. Get your multipliers for all of your rigs. And what that is going to do is that's going to give you like a window into how each rig flies, right? So like the Cinewhoop flies completely different than the Ripsqueak. And so like as you and when you do that with a bunch of different rigs, the other thing you're going to notice is there's like a, you can draw a line. You'll look at like your tiny whoops, and then you'll look at like your 3-inch rigs, and you'll look at like your 5-inch rigs, and there's a line there. And if you stay on that line, let me do it this way for you guys. If you stay on that line and you decide to build a 4-inch rig, you can get the same performance by just tracking that. And the reason why you need to do that and why I can't do it for you is because I have totally different tastes. I have totally different rigs that do different things, right? Cinewhoops have a lower power to weight ratio. Freestyle rigs have a higher power to weight ratio. We've been talking about that. But yeah, it's going to give you a pretty clear idea as to, if you want a rig that has similar flight performance, but it's a bigger or smaller propeller, here's a good starting point for where you need to be. And then you can also start to think a lot about like each one of your rigs. Like this might help you figure out why one rig, you like the way that one rig flies over another. If you kind of chart this out, and you find that you've got this, you've got this going on, but one of your rigs is down here and you don't like the way it flies as much, well, that's because it's underpowered. Alternatively, if you've got a rig that's up here and you're like, man, this thing's hard to fly, it's got too much power. So that's a really, really, really useful little exercise. Just understand that tiny whoops are going to require a much higher multiplier because of the differences in efficiency, because of the lack of efficiency. So you'll see that multiplier is going to be much higher the smaller your propellers go. unless you have like rigs that are kind of all over the place. But if you're like me and you really work your ass off to build all these different freestyle rigs to fly as similar as possible to one another, you'll find like a damn near perfect line when you do that little exercise there, and it's super helpful. I used to throw out the number 10,000 kV on 1S. Was it 1S or was it 2S? It was 2S. 10,000 kV on 2S was like a really good round number that you could then go to 5,000 kV on 4S and have that same RPM. That falls down a little bit. That was a number, a good number that would work for like 2-inch, 3-inch, maybe even 4-inch. Doesn't really work up on 5-inch. Doesn't really work down on tiny whoops, because that only equates to 20,000 RPM, and we've all flown 20,000 kV. Sorry, not RPM. We've all flown 20,000 kV tiny whoops, and they just don't have enough jam. So, yeah. Hopefully that helps. I wanted to break it down a little bit simpler than that, but it's a hard one, and it's and that's what she said. Off-axis FPV says, I had an inch-long hair poke out of my ear overnight. It was causing it to be itchy until I yanked it out. Get someone to look in your ear hole. Maggie's looked in there. This has happened to me before. I did this once before. It's getting better. Just standing in the shower and blasting the hot water in it has helped a ton. And then they sell kits that you can get that you squirt in there and they foam all up and shit. I'll get it straightened out. Chris Croft says, I cracked my original Mobula 6 HDZero frame. What frame do you recommend as a replacement? Also, what do you think of the Meteor 5 Air frame? I can't wait for the Air frame. Cracked original Mobula 6 HDZero frame. The only frame that I really recommend for 65mm tiny whoops at the moment is the Meteor 65 frame. It's just better than the rest. The Air frame will be interesting. I have a feeling it's going to be more fragile. How could it not be? The answer to that is with better engineering, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the Meteor 65 frame is just the frame that everybody runs. Like, I don't know anybody that runs a different frame than that. I guess other than the Fractal builds, but you know, they're really hard on the motors, and it's yeah, the Meteor 65 frame is the one. Douglas Otwell says, double down on CMYK's question, trying to build a 2-inch quad with 3S motor prop suggestions. So Douglas, I gave you a really good starting point there. Look at your current quads, think about which ones you like the way they fly the best, do a little bit of math, and you'll have a really good idea as to where you want your KV to be. In terms of propeller suggestions, I typically don't give those because they are fiercely individual. If you want long range and or lots of slidey behavior, you want bi-blades. If you want more durability, a little bit more grip, a little bit less efficiency, you want a tri-blade. Tri-blades are usually the good, like, kind of general middle ground. 4, 5, 6, 8 blades, those are kind of specifically for cinewhoops, unless you're desperate for grip in the corners and you don't care about efficiency. So yeah, typically it's tri-blades though. And then which tri-blade you go with, my recommendation is always just to buy them all. Propellers are so cheap and they have such an effect on flight performance that, and they're so individualistic that, yeah, when you're doing an order on a website, buy every single 2-inch propeller that they've got. It'll cost you like $20 total, and just have a field day testing them out. It's also a great way for you to, A, face the placebo, because it's going to be really difficult to tell the difference between a bunch of different tri-blades. You're going to think that you can tell the difference, but if you have someone do a proper blind test and you actually have no idea which propeller is which, you will get the answer wrong 50% of the time, at which point you can just flip a coin, right? Like if you can't answer a blind test correctly like 70, 80, 90% of the time, then it's a coin flip. And basically what that means is that you can't tell the difference, at which point pick the ones that are the most efficient, or that make the most power, or that draw the least amps, or, you know, it's on you. What do you prioritize? Which one of those things do you prioritize? Or are they the most durable, or do they look the coolest, or are they made by the brand that are, you know, the coolest with the community, right? Any number of different things you can choose. Denzel the Terrible says, a little red ribbon to put bows in your hair. Nope, that's not it. Close, but that's not it. Freelojo dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, dude. Yellow Captain says, good evening, collective. The way too good looking mighty CiottiFPV. Thank you, brother. Freelojo says, the Brat is 319 grams. Yeah, they get heavy. The Acro Brats get really heavy in a hurry. They have, with those 1804s, though, you'll have plenty of power. So, yeah, you can fire it over many a tree, which is nice. The heavier weight 3-inch rigs are very fun. Remy Tim's in the house. What's up, Dan? How are you, brother? Thanks for the package. Much appreciated. CMYK says, I feel like this could be a web-based calculator for reference. Yeah, you know, I've thought about trying to like write an article to break it down and stuff like that, but like I really prefer to have the conversation, because it's a big conversation, and it's a there are too many ins and outs, right? Like if I typed that all up, it would be, Christ, 7, 8, 9, 10 paragraphs, and you're just not going to be able to read that and digest it all. I would rather have the conversation, give you guys a couple of specific examples, and then wait a month and somebody will ask the question again and we can go over it again. I don't know. This live streams, this form of long content is, long form content, I should say. Yeah, it's what I prefer. Is it the right way? I don't know. For most people, no. But for some people, yes. And I think the people that are willing to put the time in to get good at stuff are the people that are going to end up hanging out here. And those are the people that are going to actually be able to understand that. So, I don't know. That's just me, though. Killer Whale 806 says, I have a problem pretty often. I always just use hydrogen peroxide in my ear, let it soak like 10 minutes, then get a syringe and keep spraying water in there as hard as you can stand. Good Lord. So that's what, when this happened the first time, and I've heard hydrogen peroxide does work. When this happened previously, it was like 15 years ago. I really couldn't it was really bad. This is not nearly as bad. And I had to go to the doctor, and they did that. They used some stuff, and then they took this big awful syringe and like blasted the shit out of it in my ear, and it hurt like absolute hell, but it did work. That was when I found out that you're not supposed to stick Q-tips in your actual ear hole. You just put them to like the precipice and just wiggle them around and move on with your day. So yeah, I'm hoping to not have to do that. But yeah, that's what the doctor did, and that was unpleasant. Denzel the Turbo says, I just finished charging batteries and replaced a bad VTX antenna so I could fly it and immediately started raining. Can you do a dance or something to get rid of the rain? I cannot, Danzilla. I do not have the rain dance. I apologize, my friend. Just fly it in the rain. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fly in the rain. Fine. Valtree spelled my name wrong, so it didn't light up in orange. CiottiFPV, Valtree, but I just happened to see it. It says Meteor 65 or Meteor 60. Meteor 65 or Meteor 65 Pro. Where's my water? Meteor 65 for sure. The Meteor 65 Pro frame is going to force you into running only 2 different propellers, and that's just stupid. Neither one of which are a biblade, and biblades are genius on Tiny Whoops. It's also going to force you to run a cross-style AIO, which sucks because then you have to run an external VTX, which is needlessly complex and heavy. And the performance benefit is really not there. Like 702s are now not going to be a big enough motor. You're going to have to go to a 603 or an 802, and now the whole tiny whoop is going to get significantly heavier, and it just completely throws off the balance that we've found with these genius little 65 millimeter ultimate freestyle tiny whoops. So yeah, regular old Meteor 65 frame for sure. The Pro frames kind of solve problems that don't exist, which is that I guess unless you want to do long range tiny whooping. If you want to do long range tiny whooping, the Meteor 65 and 75 Pro frames are what you want for sure. If you don't, which you probably don't, because why on earth would you long range a rig that has the least range possible? You don't want those Pro frames. The 75 Pro frame is definitely more interesting than the 65 because there is a set of bi-blades for it, but it again solves a problem that doesn't exist. 75s don't need more power, and they don't need more efficiency either. So yeah, try not to just do stuff just because it's different. But in the when you're testing stuff, you kind of have to. So yeah, it's hard, but that's what she said. Bally Shortcut says, what battery and motor would you use for a long-range 3-inch GPS Savage Bee? Man, I don't know. The long-range stuff is pretty specific. What I would do is look at other bind and fly 3-inch long-range rigs and see what motors and KV they're using, and then just mirror that. I would actually go a little bit bigger and higher KV than that, and then you can motor limit down a little. A lot of times the bind and fly rigs are a little bit under motored and over propellered. For long range, that's kind of okay, but still, carrying a little bit of extra motor weight for better footage, better PID loop performance, in my opinion, is a good kind of idea. But yeah, I don't know of any 3-inch long range stuff. I mean, what I can say is 1404s are about right for 3-inch freestyle. So you're going to want something smaller than a 1404. So we're talking 1304, 1204. There's not a whole hell of a lot of motor selection at that point. So there's not going to be you're going to have a little bit of trouble there. And then in terms of KV, you're going to want like 3,000 to 4,000 KV. Well, it depends on the battery voltage that you go with. If you go 4S, you're going to want somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 KV. For freestyle, you want like 4,500 KV on 4S. And then you can get your multiplier there if you want to go 3S and do the math for yourself. I just showed you how to do that. Cool? Makes sense? Gage Stays Fly FPV says, can you tell me what's an upgrade canopy for the Meteor 65 Pro for on-the-go adjustable camera mount with VTX mounting? Mobula canopy has no VTX mounts. Yeah, it does not. The Mobula canopy is definitely the way to go. What I would do is try to mount the VTX under the AIO. What I would do is get rid of the AIO entirely and get one of the AIOs that allows you, that has the VTX built in. At that point, you have to move away from the Meteor 65 Pro frame, which is actually a good thing. But I mean, also at that point, you've built an entire new rig. So for the rig that you've got there, I don't know if there are any options. Betafpv has a little bit of a tendency to kind of make stuff that doesn't play well with other companies' stuff. So you're pretty locked in to the Betafpv stuff. I mean, with Tiny Whoops, like, there's so little space to package different things that it's really hard to mix and match one company with the other, because, you know, Betafpv makes a decision to make the ducts bigger and pull them in so that you can't run anybody else's AIO, and now that fucks everything up, right? So yeah, I think you just want to get a replacement canopy and just kind of call it a day. And when you can, move over to the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop build, and you're going to get much better performance. I wish I had a better answer for you, Gage, but I can't think of one. Even if I could think of a canopy that does have some sort of a VTX mounting provision, it's not going to be a VTX mounting provision for the specific VTX that Betafpv uses, right? So it kind of won't do you any good. Also, there aren't many canopies out there, so you could actually spend like $15 and just buy all of the canopies that exist and see what you can do. And then there are also some canopies that are on Thingiverse that can be 3D printed, but I don't think any of those have provisions for VTXs. So yeah, the whole Tiny Whoop AIO with external VTX is shit. The only reason to do it is if you're building a race rig and you have to have that like TBS or other good quality external VTX that's not going to bleed over into the other racers' channels. But if you're not like a hardcore racer, there's a huge advantage having an AIO that's got the VTX built in and the receiver built in. Way easier to build, way easier to service, much better performance, lighter weight, more centralized mass. It's a really big deal. So yeah, unfortunately, that rig that you've got there is pretty limited to only running its specific stuff, because that's kind of bind and fly life. A lot of bind and flies are like that. HappyModel manages to make their bind and flies not like that, and it's fantastic. It's great for our community. But yeah, Abraham says, put it up to the precipice, then wiggle it around. CiottiFPV 2023. I see somebody else typed Ciotti, but they didn't put an FPV on it, so it didn't light up an orange, so that's making it hard for me to find it. Oh, there it is. Tiny Whopper says, Ciotti, Tiny Whopper, next time type CiottiFPV, no space, and it'll light up an orange. By just typing Ciotti, I have to try to find this in a sea of comments. If you type CiottiFPV, it'll do that. It'll light up an orange. And you guys can do that with each other. If you want to get somebody's attention in chat, type their name and spell it right and put the spaces in the right place, and for them, it'll light up, their own name will light up an orange. Tiny Whopper says, do you prefer a battery wire thickness? Can I just use the stock BT 2.0 wire? Do I have to swap them out for better performance of it? Nope, just use the stock BT 2.0 wire. It's plenty. I want to say it's, do not quote me on this, but I want to say it's 24 gauge. Might be 26. I don't actually know what it is. But yeah, the regular gauge of PH 2.0 and BT 2.0 battery leads is completely fine. It's completely sufficient. The battery connector is the weak point, not the wire itself. It's a really good question, actually. Prop Breaker FPV says, I have an old Meteor 65 and an HDZero VTX and camera. What do I need to make it fly well? Probably just better motors and props. But fly well is a very moving target. One person's idea of a rig that flies well is completely different than another's. With an HDZero VTX and camera, when it comes to freestyle, no 65mm rig is going to fly well. Including my own, that I've thrown everything at. That HDZero VTX and camera are just significantly heavier than analog, and they, yeah, it is what it is. For many people, my exact setup would fly great. They would think it flies great. But yeah, it's really tough for me to give you like an accurate kind of thing. But here's what I can say. A non-analog VTX and camera on a 65mm tiny whoop are one hell of a big payload. So you're gonna need to keep the weight down as low as possible in the entire rest of the build, and you're gonna need as much power as you can possibly get. So these WeBleedFPV 0702 32500 kV screamers and the Tiny Whoop 0702 32,000 kV motors are going to be key to getting that thing to fly better, because they're the lightest motor available and they are the most powerful. They have the most power for the weight. So yeah, step 1 is going to be a set of these high kV 702s. Step 2 is going to be BT 2.0. You're going to want Gemfan bi-blades for sure. Bi-blades are really the only propellers that work on 702s because the stator's smaller. And that's about it. Those 3 things are going to help immensely. If you still don't like how it flies, you got to get the digital VTX and camera off of it, and you got to go back to analog to bring the weight back down. Chick with a Stick says, have you ever built on the Bee Drone Cockroach frame? Any tips? For sure. I've done, 30, 40 different builds on different Cockroach frames, 65 to 75. I don't really have any tips. It's a great frame. It's a significantly more stiff frame than the Meteor 65, which is great for PID tuning and getting your filters as low as possible. It's a little bit of a brittle frame, so if you crash hard, you will break it. Pretty cool that Bee Drone offers a lifetime replacement warranty on it, but it's pretty inexpensive, so you can just buy like a half a dozen of them and they'll last you for a long time. Yeah, no real tips. Just enjoy it. It's a great frame. It's my second favorite frame to the Meteor 65. Yeah. I'll bet you it's pronounced Poitier, Poiter. Might just be Poiter. Says, did you ever test the new Betafpv 702 motors? If so, how were they? You know, they were supposed to send me some. We had a really hard time connecting because they're in China. And I guess they never came. Yeah. I thought they were going to send them. And I just kind of lost track. They do have bearings in them, so they could potentially be a little bit more efficient than the HappyModel 702s. I haven't really heard anybody talking about them, so they can't be that great. But I mean, I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're okay. I need to find that email string. And, Jesus, yeah. We were going back and forth for like weeks, man, like 3 weeks. Like I would email them. I kept answering their emails with all of the information that I possibly could. And then they would say, okay, great. You know, can we set up a call? And I'm like, sure. What time? And it would end up being like 6 a.m. my time. I'm like, or like 4 a.m. my time. And like, I'm up late and all, but like, oof. So yeah, that was tough. I don't know why they were so hell-bent on having a phone call. But I gave them just tons of info via email about my previous testing and stuff like that. And I don't know. I guess I kind of thought that was enough for them to just fire a package out to me with the motors so I could check them out. But yeah, they never showed up. Probably my fault though. This is not me blaming Betafpv. I'm blaming myself, trying to make excuses. Danzel the Terrible says, Tiny Whopper is considering, do you prefer... All right, we're good. Thank you, Danzilla, for seeing that Tiny Whopper didn't type CiottiFPV. This is how you do it, friends. If you see someone asking a good question, This is what you do right here. You copy and paste their question, you give them credit, and you tag me properly. This is perfect. Thank you, Danzilla. This is exactly what I want you guys to do. And even if they don't, even if they're not asking me specific, like this question, like if you see Stefan asking this question, and it's a really good question, what is the name of the connector on 1S motors, like on the HappyModel? This is actually a really decent question here. All right, perfect example. Stefan, here's how I figure it out, because I can never remember it. It's a JST connector, but I always forget. If you go to Newbie Drone, so Newbie Drone really? Newbie Drone uses a different connector. And so, what if I just search for JST? Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. All right. So, Newbie Drone uses a specific motor plug on their quads and their motor and their motors. And so they sell the motor plugs, and in the process of selling them, they were cool enough to put the fucking names on them. So that I'm giving you that. That's always my thought process. Hey, who makes the weird motor connectors? Oh, it's Newbie Drone. Go to Newbie Drone's website, try to find the motor plugs, and in their listing, they tell you exactly what they're called. And it's right here in the description. JST 1.0 is the specific Newbie Drone plug that they use on their flight controllers and their motors. JST 1.25 is the motor plug that everybody else in the industry uses. So JST 1.25 is the answer to your question. Newbie Drone uses this specific plug because it's smaller. And that makes sense. JST 1.0, JST 1.25, right? 1 is smaller than 1.25. So there you go. That's how I remember to look it up. I can never remember. I always remember that it's JST, but I can never remember the number. So I always just pop onto Newbie Drone. And what did I search for? Motor plug? Didn't that not work though? No, yeah, searching for motor plug works. Searching for motor plug on their website finds it pretty easily. So there you go. There's how you find it in the future. Hopefully you remember. I have a hard time remembering. Freeloader says Wotan above. Wotan says got some Zing 2 2550 kV motors for free. Do you think flying them with 6S and an output limiter is a good idea? Speedy B 50 amp ESC. It depends completely upon what the hell those motors are, Wotan. Are those an 0802? Are those a 2306? Are those like a lifter motor? Are those like a 3010 lifter motor? There's no way for me to answer that question without knowing how big those motors are. And I kind of need to know what the rest of the build is, because I need to know if this is going onto a 5-inch propeller, a 1-inch propeller. I need to know if you're looking at like a 5-blade or a bi-blade, right? So I need a bunch more info. Wood10 says that they're 2306. Okay, so I'm going to make some assumptions. If they're 2306s, I'm going to make the assumption that you're going to put it up in the air on a 5-inch prop. I'm also going to assume that it's a tri-blade. That's just the most common kind of thing. 2550 kV is high kV for 4S. So putting that onto 6S is going to be a lot. So if you do it, you're going to want to set the motor limiting at like 60%, 65% off the rip. So let's do the math. We talked about this earlier. So let's do it. So you are 2550 kV. That is a kV that it's meant for 4S. So you're going to multiply by 4. 2550 times 4 is 10,200. So if you were to build that, to convert those motors to run on 1S, rewind them, you would want to rewind those motors to be 10,200 kV for 1S. So now you've got your multiplier here of 10,200. So if you want the 6S equivalent, all you got to do is divide by 6, and that's going to give you 1,700 kV. So, though that seems a little bit low. No, that's right. Yep, that's correct. So 2550 kV on 4S is the same thing as 1,700 kV on 6S. But you're not looking to convert to a different motor. That's the answer to the question of, hey man, I've got 2550 kV motors that I've been running on 4S. It's the perfect amount of power. I want to move over to 6S. I don't want to do motor limiting. I want to buy another set of motors that gives me the exact same amount of RPM. And the answer to that question is 1,700 kV. Still with me? That's not what you're asking, though. What you're asking is, can you do it without cooking the ESC? And I'm sure another part of the question is, I was reading Tiny Whopper's question. What RPM limiting should you use? That is a slightly different calculation, but it's equally as simple, to be honest with you. So 4S, I'm not even going to use the calculator. Just think of it this way. From 4 to 6, you're adding 2. So if you take 4 and cut it in half, that's 2. Half is 50%, so you're going to add 50% when you go from 4 to 6. You're kind of doing the opposite, though. So, like, for example, if you wanted to run a 6S kV motor on 4S, you would want to add 50%, if you could, to your throttle limiting. If you were able to go throttle limiting 150%, that's what you would need to do to take a 4S motor, a 6S kV motor and run it on 4S. You're doing the opposite. So we're going to go the other way. Instead of 150%, we want to go the other direction, but we're not going to go down to 50%. We go to 66% because that's just the way that it works out. So if you wanted to take those 2550 kV motors and run them on 6S, the exact, I don't know if it's exact, but the perfect amount would be a 66%. I think it's 66%. I call it 67% because it's 66.6, right? So round up. So that could be a starting point, a 67% throttle limit. As we talk about, you kind of don't want to motor limit less than 70% unless you absolutely have to. Here's a cool opportunity for you. Run that rig on 4S at 100% throttle, then put the motor limiting at 67% on 6S, and see if you can tell a difference. Better yet, have somebody do a blind test for you, because when you're doing that, you're going to fuck up the results. You're going to know that you're making that change, and of course you're going to think that 6S flies better. It is going to fly better. But yeah, I would actually go a little bit down so that they're 2550 kV, like I said, that is like a higher kV 4S motor. And then so you put that all the way up on the 6S and it's like, yo, the motor limiting is amazing and it works 99.9% of the time. But if something really goes haywire, you're going to have a really high kV motor on 6S, an incredibly high kV motor on 6S. So it could potentially explode. So I would actually motor limit down. I mean, so like if possible, get 1800 kV, 1900 kV, 1700 kV motors, right? That's the best case scenario. I have run a 65% throttle limit, motor output limit on 2400 kV motors on 6S for over a year, hundreds and hundreds of batteries, and it was completely fine. The one spot where you have to really be careful is in the motors tab of Betaflight, because that ignores the motor limiting. So in the motors tab of Betaflight, if you've got those 2550s on 6S and you ramp those sliders up to 100%, those motors are going to shoot fireballs. Other than that, it should be totally fine. Again, unless something really weird happens. If the ESC just freaks out and sends full power to those motors on 6S at 2550 kV, it's going to be a fucking nightmare. So, yeah, it's a little sketchy to do it. Many of us have done it for a long, long time. Usually with 2400 kV, but 2550 kV should be fine. Safe bet, like I said, put your motor limiting at 60%, fly it, see how it is. If it doesn't have enough power for you, move up to 65%. Just try to keep that number down as low as you can, and yeah, you'll be good to go. Caught up on chat. Let's dive into bouncing tiny whoops off the walls, yo. Bench cam. Well, nope. We can just put this right up in the air. Current configuration is Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoops, slightly different frame. Don't worry about that. BT 2.0, Mobula 6, ELRS AIO, 0802EX. These are the lightest weight 0802 motors that exist. 30,000 kV. Gemfan 1209 quad blades. Shitload of propeller. Bunch of motor. All up weight is dry weight is 21 point something, 21.8. It's fat. It's a fat little devil. 21.8. Look at me go. It's almost like I weighed it right before the live stream. So yeah, 21.8 all up weight. These are the heavier motors, heavier propellers. This is about as chubby as it's gonna get. Let me not put a worked battery through this. Let me put I want to give this as much of a chance at not sucking as possible. So I'm going to put a relatively fresh battery on here. I'm going to kind of stack the deck against the rest of these configurations because I know that this doesn't fly great. I know that this is fat and heavy and it's a bit of a challenge, but we're going to be all right. You'll see. You'll see what I mean. Here we go. Fart. This is something that, oh boy, you could get used to, I think. I don't know why you would want to, because there are setups that fly significantly better, but hey. If you're hell-bent on quad blades, this is the setup that I would recommend. Oh boy. Oh boy, I hit myself in the head. No stream is complete without hitting yourself. Oh. So, it's, yeah, it's heavy, but it's got some power. Oh man, I think that would have fallen through there if I'd just let it. Yeah, not terrible. Not great. You can do Ciotti loops with it. Not as accurately as what you're going to see in a little bit. Oh, nope. Looks like it's right side up. Hey, look at this go. It's hard for me to, like, convey to you the weight of these things, but pay attention to like that moment just there where it slapped into the ground. I usually don't, like on a Ciotti loop, I usually don't do that. Like I'm usually able to keep it off the ground, but this thing has more weight than power. See that? Like, see, I had to really hammer on the throttle to keep it off the ground there. That's the kind of stuff that you want to pay attention to. Ah, that was dumb. So yeah, not bad. Just the weight makes it like, it feels like there's more gravity. Like it feels like it's just always being pulled down to the ground because the weight Almost got the Matty dive. Yeah, the weight doesn't go away. The weight is always there. You can offset with power all the hell you want. But the entire time that you're flying, when you're not full throttle, the weight is gonna drag you down. You're also gonna see the runtime be pretty low. 2 minutes and 13 seconds is like almost a full minute less runtime from the extra weight. So, you know, that's a setup. I don't know. I would not. Yeah, Dan said this is my Mavic 2 Pro, and it's holding its little. It's got its arm around its little transmitter, and it's saying hi. It's just kind of sitting, waiting to be flown. You're gonna be waiting a while, buddy. I don't like to fly you that much. You're a pain in the ass. It's okay though. I still love you. You're not a real quad. You're a fake drone. You bitch ass bitch. Let's now go to let's go ass opposite let's go ass opposite end of the spectrum to bi-blades. We're gonna go from the Gemfan 1209 quads all the way down to the Gemfan bi-blades, because I want to try and show you as drastically as possible the difference that propellers make, and just sort of like what 30,000 kV does on bi-blades when the rig is kind of heavy. I think maybe you guys will be able to see a difference in flight characteristics here. I don't think that going from the quad to the tri-blades, you'll be able to see the difference. I'll probably be able to feel the difference, but it's a live stream. I want to be able to, you know, it's about you guys, it's not about me. So yeah, let's take a look here. I'm actually really curious to put this on the tri-blades. These quad blades are really hard to... The worst part about the quad blades is how difficult they are to get off of the motors. Although, as I say that one was very easy to get off of there. Come on. I don't always even use the plunger part of the prop puller, just this little scoop part. This is available on tinywhoop.com sometimes. Every time Jesse gets them in, everybody buys all of them immediately. So they're really hard to find in stock, but yeah, this thing is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so now we're gonna go to Gemfan bi-blades, and you're gonna get to see what an underpowered rig, an underpropped, underpowered rig flies like. It's not the end of the world. Still flies okay. You're going to see the runtime get better because bi-blades are more efficient than quad blades or tri-blades. But what you're probably going to see is a lack of thrust because we've got heavy motors on... Where'd Mom go? I don't know. Where did she go?
I don't know.
Where is she?
I don't know.
Is she here? Is her car here?
I don't know.
A wild azalea has appeared. I mean, she has to be... She's in the backyard, Azalea. She's got to be in the backyard. I guarantee you she's in the backyard. If you can't find her, that's where she is. Did you look there yet?
No.
No, you just came down here. To ask me. The gangly man. The gangliest of all the ganglies. Yeah, she's here. Can you even hear me? Oh, she's not here. Azalea. She's not here.
Why?
How did she leave without me knowing?
I don't know. She left without me knowing too.
Open that door. Make sure her car's there and not here. Did she walk to the store?
No, she left.
How did she sneak out?
She's gone.
Sneaky bitches. Alright. What do you need? Do you need something?
Alex wants to have a sleepover.
Great. When?
Today.
Right now?
No.
Where?
Later.
Here?
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
Text your mom and ask her. but I'm cool with it. Cool. Wait, no, today's Sunday. Sleep over into Labor Day. Awesome. Yeah, you're good. Do it.
Labor Day.
Text your mom. Is it Labor Day tomorrow?
Yeah.
See that? I know things.
It took you a second.
Yeah, it did. Welcome to old age, my friend. Leave that open, please, so I can come harass you. Is Teddy out?
No.
Okay, cool. How did... Man, I'm slipping, yo. He snuck past me. My girl snuck past me and ran out. Damn, yo. Sneaky. Sneaky. The dog is here. Well, the dog is locked up, thank God. He is a real nightmare sometimes. Here's ByBlades on 802EX motors. Let's give him a second to... Let's give the ESC a second to just cool off. I need you to cool off, not get hotter. Come on, bro. Come on, core temperature. Go down, not up. There we go. There we go. Who put that there? It might not fly great, but god damn it, that is the cleanest coffee table power loop I've ever done. Oh my god! What? All right, hold on. Maybe this is maybe we're not changing these motors out. All right, let's go. Yeah, a little bit of a lack of power going on here, but talk a lot about how less power makes certain things easier. Oh god, no! Why me? It's fine. This is a clear that right there, the little power loop situation that we just had. Although all of a sudden everything is easier. Yeah, less power makes it easier, but it's not as fun. And there's certain things that you can't do. There's certain things that you need more power to do. Jesus, this thing rips. So, I mean, to me, what this really is an illustration of how absolute magic the Gemfan ByBlades are. Our runtime is going to be kind of fucked because I left it plugged in forever when Azalea and I were talking, but there is slightly less power than with the quad blades. I'm also used to the way the ByBlades fly, so I'm more comfortable with them. Wow, man, this thing flies way better with... This thing flies so much better with ByBlades than those quad blades, it's kind of absurd. Yeah, okay, so... Gemfan ByBlades for the win. I don't know what else to say about that. That's just ridiculous, but... I've said it before, I'll say it again. The Gemfan ByBlades are utter magic. Absolute and utter magic. I need another battery on this. I can't believe there's not more of a difference in power. That's absurd. Why did I put it on the ground upside down? It's a confusing situation here. Hold on. Yeah, there is a little bit less power. Man, it's not bad though. No, 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 no. Wow. I apparently have not run these motors on bi-blades in a while. Because I'm really impressed by these. I must have had them on tri-blade. It would make sense. These are not bad. I mean, the 702s are better, but this is not terrible. Ah, I tried to get a double Matty flip. One big, one small. Hold on. Oh, that's a cool little move. That I gotta figure that one out. I gotta not figure it out, but I just need to do it. Damn, yo. These, okay. These motors ain't no joke. Oh! Oh! Oh, no. Oh, no. Ah, Ciotti loop fail! Oh god. I was looking at the outside for a second there. Did you see that? I was looking out at the patio shit. No, no, no. No, no, no! Damn, yo. Okay. So, those are the 0802EXs on Gemfan bi-blades. I know I said we were going to put them on... Let's put them on tri-blades. Let's just see. Let's just see. Seven for Elements says, thanks, you're certainly welcome. Wow. Wow, okay. I really think that... the main thing that we're seeing here is that I'm very used to the slidiness and the performance of the bi-blades. And I think that is the main thing that's kind of coming through here. It definitely still did not have as much power as what I'm... Power to weight ratio, I should say, as what I'm used to. But as you can see, I was able to do all of the things with these motors that are not as good. Let's go to pitchy tri-blades. Casey Cohen with a $5 super chat. He says, cool stuff, man. Thank you so much, Casey. Much appreciated. If you have any questions, let me know. Wow, I'm shocked that there was not more of a difference in thrust. This'll really, these high-pitched tri-blades will either make significantly more power that I'll really be able to notice, or they'll feel exactly the same. I think what's going on here is that these 802s, they have enough stator volume where they can pretty confidently turn bi-blades, tri-blades, or quad blades. So the difference is much less evident. On a 702, it's really not a big enough motor to crank a tri or a quad blade, so you really notice it. Like, you put a 702 onto a bi-blade, and it's beautiful. You put it onto a tri or a quad blade, and it's like, this ain't right. Like, it's just not. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't fly right. The response time is not quick enough. So, all right. Now we are on tri-blades made by T-Motor. They are slightly lighter than the Gemfan old school tri-blades. I think they're pretty much the same pitch, but they're a little bit lighter, which really does help. So let's see how this is.
Telemetry recovered. Full battery.
Works well. Who's not spinning? Motor number 4 has decided to pack up and go home. What has happened? Oh god, the prop is like stuck. Why is it stuck like that? What's happening? What the fuck? What is happening here? What? Why is the prop all like jammed up? It's these old, it's this old Betafpv frame. It's kind of, all right, that should fix it. Oh, what the fuck? What are you hitting? Why are you hitting it? What's going on here? I just want to test this real quick, man. Come on. Come on now. Be cool, motherfucker. Maybe we're not testing this. What the f... What is happening? Why is this... There we go. That duct must have warped a little bit. That was super, super, super weird. Doesn't look like it has any more power, does it? It's because it kind of doesn't. Oh God. I don't really know what to say about this. It flies okay, but there's really nothing here. Like it's not gonna have as good runtime as with the Beyblades. And yeah, I don't know. Let's go upstairs real quick. Should have gone upstairs earlier in the battery. Oh God. Yeah, so at the bottom there, I was just sitting on full throttle to try to keep it off the ground. Back down we come. Flies all right. It corners really well, I think. Down at the bottom of the stairs there, it cornered really well. A lot of the racers choose tri-blades. I think most of the racers run tri-blades for the grip. So that kind of makes sense. What did I hit? Oh my God, leave me alone. I'm trying to do the thing. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Yeah, nothing wrong with this. I don't know. It's not going to give me as good runtime as the Beyblades. The Beyblades are just magic, yo. They're just absolute magic. These motors are okay. Man, I was really not liking these motors the other night. I really didn't like them on the quad blades. I like them a lot better on the bi and tri blades. But not magic. They're not magic. They're not magic. Casey says, "What is a good 3-inch drone for a beginner?" Oh boy, unfortunately, Casey, you kind of came to the wrong place for that. I'm not like the beginner guy. I'm more like you've been flying for a year and you're looking to refine and go from good to great. That's really what I'm best with. None of the companies send me any of the ready to flies to test, so I haven't flown any of them, and that really, like, I really try to not talk about gear that I haven't personally flown and smashed and abused, and yeah, so that's a tough question for me to answer. Here's what I will say. The very first drone that you buy is not going to be the drone that you fly forever. So find one that fits your budget, ask around a little bit to make sure it's not completely horrifying, and just buy the damn thing. And just resign yourself to the fact that, A, you're probably going to lose that one. And, you know, hopefully it sucks. You know what I mean? like since you're going to lose it anyway, hopefully it's not a great one, and then you won't feel as bad about losing it. Is one way to sort of look at it. I know that's awful, but it's the truth. Like you're probably going to lose a drone at some point here. It's just a part of the learning curve. Some of us haven't when we were new. It took me like 5+ years to lose one. I got very lucky though. That is not the norm. So yeah, find something cheap that's not horrifying, and the learning shall begin. And like by yeah, you're gonna learn everything that you need to know pretty quickly. Like, so you get a cheap rig, you're gonna figure out, okay, this doesn't have enough power for me, this has too much power for me, this is or isn't durable enough for me, this doesn't hold the camera where I want it to. Like, you're gonna learn all these little things. There are like a million little stupid things in this hobby that in FPV, I shouldn't call it a hobby anymore because it is no longer a hobby for me. But there are a million little things that are going to be very specific to you. So going on Facebook, for example, and just saying like, hey, asking the question that you asked me on Facebook is the worst thing that you could possibly do. That is going to give you way more bad info than good info. So definitely don't do that. Do not ask a short little question like what you posted in here on Facebook. If you're going to ask anything on Facebook, which you kind of shouldn't do anyway because it's filled with people that have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But if you're insistent on asking a question on Facebook, it should be very specific. Very, very, very specific. More specific than you really know right now. So right now is a tough time to ask a valid question on Facebook because you don't know. You don't know if you're going to fly at bandos more, if you're going to long range more, if you need something that's going to pick up a 28-gram payload versus a 59-gram payload, right? So it's tough. It's a tough spot that you're in right now at this very moment, but we've all been there. And like I said, your first rig is not going to be the one that you fly forever, so just resign yourself to wasting a little bit of money up front. And I know we all want to do our research and not waste money and get the perfect thing on the first go, but with FPV, that is kind of impossible. Buying a television, totally possible. Because everybody sits on the couch and stares at the TV in the same way. With FPV, it's not like that at all. We all do everything completely different, and the whole point of customizing these is to customize it in a way that it's perfect for you. So yeah, there's my answer to that. Sorry I don't have like a straight answer for you, but a straight answer is not what you need. A straight answer to that question, basically anybody willing to give you a straight answer to that question, all they're doing is telling you what they like. And that's what you're going to get on Facebook. You're going to get a mix. The majority of the people are going to have absolutely no idea, and they're just going to randomly like suggest, they're going to suggest whatever drone they currently own or the most recent one that they bought. And that's just totally worthless. Or they're going to suggest their personal favorite. And their personal favorite is completely worthless to you because you're not them. And yeah, so stay away from Facebook. It's annoying. Like I wish that there was a quick answer I could give to that, but if there was, I wouldn't be able to do 40 hours of live streaming a week, or a month rather, as a full-time job. So I guess I'm kind of lucky that there's not a straight answer to that question. But yeah, for the most part, get something cheap. You're gonna lose it anyway. The cheaper it is, the less you're gonna care when you lose it. And welcome to the pain, my friend. This hobby is, FPV is something else. It's great. Don't get me wrong. And I love it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. But getting started in FPV is very difficult. Luckily, those of us that are stubborn enough to stick with it, that are still in it after 6 months, we're a really cool group of people. So that's the payoff there. But, ooh boy, you got some dues to pay right now, brother. You got to lose a rig. You got to light a rig on fire. You've got to hit yourself with a rig. There's all these rites of passage that you got coming. So, welcome. I should have mounted these motors up before the live stream, but I was going to put them into the same frame, and that's stupid. I am going to move away from this frame. I'm going to go to a Meteor 65 frame here, just because I have one with the screws already in it, and that'll speed this up quite a bit, and there's only 6 minutes left to the end of the stream. So I want to get this thing onto these Screamer motors so that you can see the difference in flight characteristics between an 802 and a 702. We just flew the 802s on about as good as it's going to get, I think, for propellers. I think that these T-motor tri-blades are kind of the perfect propeller for an 802 on a 65mm rig. But realistically, I don't like 802s on 65mm rigs. It's too big of a motor. You want either a 702 or a 603. Unfortunately, at the moment, there is not a 603 that's in production that has enough kV. I do have a set of prototype 603s from Jesse over at Tiny Whoop that are 30,000 kV that are fucking brilliant. So shoot Jesse at Tiny Whoop a message and say, yo, I need those 603 30,000s that Ciotti has. What do I have to do to get you to make them? And while you're at it, ask them for like 34,000 kV. What I would really like is an 0603 34,000 kV or even 35,000 kV that we can pair with the Gemfan biblades. That would be insane. They're already really good at 30,000 kV when you put them with tri-blades. But good lord, I think they would be amazing on biblades. I have learned that 32,000 kV seems to be about as high as we want to go on a 702, but a 603 has significantly more power potential. So a 603 should be able to push up to 34 or 35,000 kV, I believe. Even at 30,000 kV, though, the 603s are phenomenal if you want more than what you can get from a 702. Like if you want to build one of these 65s that's just a brute that you can fly in like bigger spaces, 603s are the absolute jam. All right, one more motor on here, and then you're going to get to see the chaos that is 32,500 kV 0702s. Well, I'm going to have to throw it into Betaflight and get the motor spinning in the right direction first, but you know what I mean. Maybe on Wednesday we'll do a little, almost certainly on Wednesday we'll do a little head-to-head 32,500 fresh 32,500 kV motors versus 32,000 kV motors. Tiny Whoop versus WeBleed. And I will not, the only difference I'll be able to tell is in the freshness of the motors. The Tiny Whoop motors are getting old. I've put a lot of batteries and a lot of abuse through those. So that is not going to be a super fair test. Like we're going to really, the deck is going to be stacked against the Tiny Whoop motors. But I bet you I won't be able to tell a difference. I bet you it won't matter. All right. AIO is in the frame. I don't really find it necessary to do this on the bench cam. It's removing a bunch of screws, cranking them back down. Building a Tiny Whoop, a monkey could do. So, and you guys have seen me do it 1,000 times. If you can't build a Tiny Whoop, you are going to have a hard time in FPV. Tiny whoop is not a bad place to start either. It's going to get you confident. You're not going to really have to do much soldering. Maybe a battery connector, maybe not. You're going to be able to plug your motors in, remove a couple screws, and you'll feel like a fucking hero. You know, you'll get a new set of motors and put them on in 10 minutes. You'll be like, yeah, it'll get you a nice little confidence boost. And then you can try to build a custom 3-inch rig and bash your face into the desk until it explodes. All right, we've got a hot little setup coming here. Brand new set of 702 32,000 5 million kV motors, or murders. And we're putting some Gemfan bi blades on here. Some pretty beat up, if I must admit, Gemfan bi blades, for the record. And okay, cool. I am certain that these motors won't magically spin the let's see. This is a kind of whooped battery that I'm putting on here. Oh, balls, I gotta plug the motors in. That'll help, won't it? I'm gonna run this on whooped batteries that have been cycled many more times than the batteries that I was just running. And it's not gonna matter, because these motors in this KV is just incredible. All right. There's actually a chance that these motors will spin the right direction. So let's throw a battery on it super quick. I'm not even going to put the battery in the battery bay, though. I'm just going to put the battery on it like this. If you ever want a super quick test, if your motors are going to spin the right direction, just put them on here and then go into turtle mode. And if it makes thrust in turtle mode, then the motors are spinning the wrong direction. See how it's making thrust? That's a motor that's spinning the wrong direction. Because in turtle mode, it should drive the rig down into the desk. So let's plug it into Betaflight and we'll take a look. Hey, we're going to do the streamer after this too. I'm going to put the streamer on there. See what that's all about. Give you guys a view of the room for that shenanigan. All right, we are plugged into Betaflight. We are hooking up power and here we go. Betaflight's gonna take a fortnight to open up. Let's get this streamer ready while I'm waiting. All right, streamer's ready. Didn't take very long. I got some tri-blades I gotta put away. Come on, Betaflight. Come on, damn you. Let's go. There we go. Connect. Motors. Motor direction. I understand the risks, and the propellers are definitely off. Start and spin. Motor number 1 is correct. Motor number 2 is correct, which means 3 and 4 are going to be incorrect. 3 is incorrect. 4 is incorrect. So click them to reverse them, and now double check it. 4 is now correct. 3 is now correct. Good to go. Stop motors. Close. I always double check by firing this up. And yep, we're good. Everybody's making thrust. All is right with the world. Disconnect. And here we go. Same exact rig. Different motors. And we're back to the Gemfan bi-blades, which is what we flew 2 batteries ago on this. Fart. Here we go! WeBleedFPV 0702 32,000 5 million kV screamers. It's time to scream, my friends, on a whooped-ass battery. Yeah. So, like, just a little... Little throttle blips, little quick throttle blips. Whoa, what the hell was that? Jesus. So you notice I'm hitting stuff. I'm trying to just do this, but I'm hitting up into this. That's because it's making more power. I'm doing the same timing on my throttle blips. See, there it is again. But it's the response time is quicker, and it's making more power, even on a whooped-ass battery. Oh god! Oh boy! I'm in a coat. Look at that. Magical motors, yo. Whew!
30 seconds.
Tried to back it through the doorway. Yeah, I mean, this is it. Like, this is just the jam. This is absolutely everything. With tiny whoops, you really need to be, like, you need to be fast. Like, everything happens so quickly. All the little distances here, you know, like, everything you do is small and tight and nuts. And a really lightweight motor does that better than pretty much anything else. Woo! That was a close one on the corner there. Ah! Can you guys see it? You guys can see it, can't you? Oops. Oh, that was dumb. I just jammed it right under the corner. Put a streamer on it, yo. It's completely destroy the flight performance. I wonder what this is going to be like. So I'm just going to take this streamer and just tie it around the back. Oh, I got to do it with the battery out, I guess. Hold on. Hold on.
Telemetry lost.
I'm just going to tie it around like the back a little bit. Back here. Maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it'll be okay. We about to see. And I'm going to leave the rest of the streamer just rolled up, and I'm just going to let it pull the thing off the desk here. So just a quick little whatever knot. I'm going to have to like kind of cut this off though to make sure it doesn't get into the motors. Okay. Just a little over under. Jesus, this ribbon is really thin. Come on. Get in there. There we go. Okay. Simple little knot. And just rip the... I can just rip it. Okay. Well, no, let me cut it. Because it looks like it's going to get sucked into the motor. It just looks like it. Alright, that ain't getting sucked into the motor. Alright, here we go. So right now it's just sitting like this with it coiled up here. Let's actually, this will be cool. This will be cool. I'm gonna point this down at the ground first, and then wait, no. I know what I'll do. I'm gonna do a double camera situation here. So we're gonna do bench cam, and I'll fly it away, and you can watch it pull the thing off the desk. I think is what'll happen. And then I'll switch to this camera so you can see it whipping around the room. Right, here we go. Oh shit, I forgot to put the battery back in it. This'll help. Oh, let's do a fully charged battery. Because this is going to be a mess to land. I'm going to have to just like do laps around the room. Tiny Whoop streamers. Let's see how this is. This could be super fun.
Low battery.
I'm gonna do line of sight first, because I kind of want to see what happens when I fly this thing away right now. Oh boy. Oh, it just pulls it. Oh god. Oh boy, line of sight was a mistake. I'm stuck over here. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Alright, goggles coming down. Here we go. Doing laps. Oh wow, it's pulling. Oh, it's pulling. Oh, it's pulling. Oh god, oh god! It's stuck on something. Oh, it's stuck on something! I'm stuck on something. All is not well. I want to turn around and look, but I kind of can't. And now it's better. I have a feeling it ripped. I have a feeling it ripped. Oh, it ripped. It's all over the couch. Oh, it just untied itself. Was that cool? Was it stupid? It came untied. Oh, that was interesting. Let's, oh man, it's really long. Oh my god. This is outrageously long. This is too long. Wow. That is quite the streamer. Okay, here's the end. Oh, it didn't even unwind all the way. There's a little coil buoy at the end. So let's make it a little shorter. Let's rip this guy in half. How about that? Let's rip it in half. I'm gonna rip it right here. So now we've got that bit with the little weight at the end, and then we've got this guy. Let's just let's try this again.
Telemetry lost.
It probably ripped off when it got hung up on something. So let's try this again here. Loop it around the back part. Go straight down. And okay, that looks good. All right, loop it, and got it. Okay, so then we'll tie this here. I'm gonna try tying it a little bit more loosely this time. Okay. Now let's see how that does. Let's see if that's any better. All right, go to the bench zoom cam for you. And all right. Got it. It's fine. Everything's great. No yelling on the bus. Here we go. Round 2, streamer life. Not live streamer, but red streamer. Goggles are on. Let's see. Much better. Much better. Man, I want to turn around and look so bad, but I just kind of can't. It feels fine. Is the streamer even still on it? I don't even know if it's still on there. Oh, I think it is. I think I just felt it catch on something. Yeah. There's totally a streamer on it. Is it? What's that look like? Man, I can't see. Hold on. Let me try to line of. I can't line of sight it. I just can't. Maybe I can line of sight it. Oh god, I can't line of sight it. Oh god. All right, so what I've noticed is that the streamer is like facing down a lot. I'm gonna go really fast. I want to try to go really fast to get the streamer to go straight out. Let's see. Let's see. All right, this is gonna be the last thing that we do here, friends. Thanks for hanging out. It looks good. All right, I'm gonna go real fast here though. Let's see. Let's see. Time to go fast. Oh God! Oh no! Oh. Oh. No. Streamer's caught in the propellers. Hopefully it was cool while it lasted. Oh man. Yeah, if you're gonna do streamer life, you can't be crashing. Doesn't work if you crash. Was it straight out? I tried to go as fast as I could there for you. Hold on. Oh shit. Yeah. I guess I kind of expected that one. Use the streamers at your own risk, friends. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, that's all wrapped up. These the streamers are tied around the screamers, yo. These streamer motors feel great. They feel just like the 32,500 kV, the 32,000 kV tiny whoop motors. If you think you can tell a difference in 500 kV, you're smoking dope. It's just you're not gonna be able to, especially when the numbers are up as high as they are. Like, if it was like a Cinelifter motor and it was like 650 kV versus 700 kV, yeah, okay, maybe you could tell a difference on 8S or something like that. But on a tiny whoop, yeah, you're not. One more try. I just like jankily tied the streamer around the battery lead. Yeah. Oh God, the ESC is about to catch on fire. It's at 183. Oh, and I forgot to turn on the goddamn camera for you guys to see what's happening here. Bench zoom. There it is. Here we go. Last second thing. Whee! About as fast as I can go, friends. Oh God. Oh no! Oh, the battery is at 3.3. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got to do this with a bunch of tiny whoops. Is it cool?
Telemetry lost.
Was it cool when I was going fast? Do you guys want to go fast too? Man, I want the streamer to be full length next time. Full length streamer outside going full speed. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna have to watch this back. I need to see what that looks like. I think that might be cooler than you guys are making it out to be. Let's just do one more real quick. Full length streamer, full speed ahead. Let's go as fast as we can. The other streamer is still full length.
Telemetry recovered.
Oh yeah?
Battery.
Oh yeah? Hold on. Extra long streamer. Here we go. Extra long stream. Extra long streamer during an extra long stream from an extra long streamer. See what I did there? I'm not going to play the VTX because there's nothing to see. This is all cool because of line of sight. There we go. Tying it. Come on. Tying it around the battery lead. The streamer is so thin that like it's hard to do anything with it. It's like my fingies. My fingies are too big and beefy. Got it. There we go. Come on. Tie it. Tie. Okay. It's starting to rip. It's probably going to rip. Maybe it won't rip. Here we go. Going fast. Core temperature 170. Here we go. Going fast. Oh boy. Oh boy. Woo! Oh boy. Hold on, I'm gonna go through a gate. Oh, why am I doing this? Oh, pretty sure I just cut it. Pretty sure there's no streamer anymore. Oh god, oh boy. If it wasn't cut before, it's cut now. Oh, there was still a streamer. Oh my God, there was still a streamer. How did that work? Is it still good? No. Oh my God, it's still on there. All right, come on now, more. We gotta go more. Hold on. Oh boy. Oh, I hear it hitting things. Oh! Why did I come over here? Let's go through a gate. We're gonna go through a gate. Going through the gate! Seems okay. Going through the gate! Seems okay. Going through the gate! Oh! Oh, it cut it this time. And it wrapped around the motor. Yo, that's cool. All right, I'm a streamer convert. Oh shit! The Tiny Whoop streamer flying a Tiny Whoop streamer. What could go wrong? Thanks for hanging, my friends. If you enjoy this kind of content, do me a favor and help me out. Support me. Do something. Do anything. Use an affiliate link. Best thing you can possibly do, though, is just join my Patreon. It does not cost much money. I do about 40 hours of live streaming a month. And if you join my lowest Patreon tier, you will pay 7.5 cents per hour. You cannot tell me that what we just did was not worth 7.5 cents. Hook me up, join my Patreon. You're going to love it. There's all kinds of benefits. It's going to be great. We're going to hang out together. You're going to get access to these beautiful people in the chat over here, over on Discord, on Facebook groups. There's a big playlist that you're going to get access to. There's a ton of technical articles on the Patreon. It's a really good thing. You're going to love it, and it's going to support me better than like anything else that you can do, so I can keep doing this crazy shit. It's hard to do this, and you guys are amazingly supportive. Yeah, it's what allows this all to happen. But we got to keep building it, man. It's not quite big enough yet that I can just kind of sit back and be like, yeah, support me if you want. I have to like really ask you to support me. And that's okay, because you all come through. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is a giveaway live stream. If you join the Patreon at the $5 or up a month tiers, you can get in on tomorrow night's giveaways. If you win one of the giveaways, it will pay for your Patreon for many months, and you'll get a bunch of free stuff. So yeah, think about it. If you're on the $3 a month tier, it's only $2 extra a month to get in on some of these giveaways. I'm doing 4 giveaways tomorrow night. So head on over to my Patreon. It talks about it more on there. Over at CiottiFPV.com, there's a bunch of other ways you can support me too. Affiliate links, buy something from my Etsy store. Yeah, hook a brother up, and I'll hook you guys up and keep doing this. Cool? See you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Here comes some 5-inch flying from one of my favorite spots in Alpharetta. This was after Rampage. Cricket, Slat, and E-Rod were in town, so we were all hanging out, bullshitting. I brought him to a couple of my favorite spots. Let me get some jams for you real quick, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Hyper Reality by Cushy. Hopefully it doesn't suck. No. Shine Computer by Shryuki. This should be better. Be good, friends. I love you. Bye-bye!